Hakeem Jeffries wasn't ready for this. Take a look.
You brought up a number. Is that just politics? Do you know the members of the military that were killed? Sitting there silent, just using it for politics.
During a House debate on war powers resolutions aimed at limiting Trump's authority over Iran, Jeffries went on his usual mental gymnastics. That is, until Brian Mast stepped in, exposing the contradictions, leaving him speechless with one line. And today, we're covering it all. So, let's jump right into it.
Why don't you just argue the merits of your position, as opposed to attacking the patriotism of people on the Democratic side of the aisle? When, as far as I'm concerned, the most patriotic thing that we can do is stand up to ensure that our men and women in uniform aren't being recklessly sent into a costly war of choice, more than 12 of whom have already lost their lives, hundreds of whom have been seriously injured. Let's just argue the merits of Donald Trump's reckless and costly war of choice. Now, this war of choice, this reckless and costly war, was entered into without any plan, any objective, any exit strategy, any public support, and any approval of the United States Congress.
Now, you can debate all day whether Iran posed an immediate threat, or point to polls showing more people oppose this conflict than support it. But one thing has stayed consistent. No matter who was in office, we were on an irreversible collision course with them. You see, back in 2024, Kamala Harris herself said, quote, "Iran is the most significant enemy of the United States," adding, quote, "What we need to do is ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power. That is one of my highest priorities." That position reflects years of policy buildup. Brian Mast was up next, and he gave even more powerful evidence proving his point, reminding Brooklyn Obama of what the Democrats did not so long ago. Take a look.
I want to thank my colleague for the speech that he just gave. Probably the most hypocritical speech that anybody could give. But I'm glad he gave it because the truth is I'm well prepared to answer for this. So let's talk about engagements against Iran. What's going on? This is not the first time that this happened. Joe Biden was engaged against Iran. Why? Because of imminent threat. But let's examine the difference between when Joe Biden was engaged and President Trump was engaged. When Joe Biden engaged is because the Houthis, a direct arm of Iran, was attacking the United States of America's ships, merchant marine vessels, doing what they've been doing for decades, picking a fight. President Biden launched Operation Prosperity Garden against Iranian-backed Houthis, and that went on for almost a year until January 2025, from November 23 till January of 25. And what happened during that time? How many times did my Democrat colleagues or Republicans offer a war powers resolution to say, remove all U.S. forces from this fight against Iran? I have the counter down here. It's 0.
Exactly. Multiple Democrats backed those airstrikes at the time. Take Greg Meeks, the ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, who put out a statement that read, quote, "I support the Biden administration's targeted strikes against the Houthis," while also condemning the continued, unprovoked Houthi attacks against commercial shipping and personnel, which must immediately cease. Only a small group of progressives pushed back, and Hakeem Jeffries wasn't among them. Whether you agree with their stance or not, at least it showed some level of consistency, something that's rare in today's political climate. Now, Mast didn't stop there. He went further and highlighted how the broader Democratic position has since changed, pointing to the real reason behind the sudden 180. But before we play that, here's a quick message from today's sponsor. If you've been following the channel, you know we've been tracking Saga Metals, trading as SAGMF in the US and Saga in Canada. Now, back in January, we covered their massive drill program in Labrador and how it aligned with the US push for domestic critical minerals. Now, things are getting serious. In just 4 weeks, they scaled fast. They surpassed expectations and delivered a perfect 36 out of 36 drill results. Then they pushed further. Saga secured another titanium asset in the same district as the largest titanium mine in the world. It gets even more interesting. They scooped it from under Rio Tinto, a global mining giant worth over $100 billion. If they were targeting the same ground, this is clearly not random. Remember, titanium is critical for our national security. Fighter jets, radar systems, and next-gen naval platforms rely on it. That's why the US is investing heavily to secure strategic supply chains. The Trump administration recently launched Project Vault, which brings $12 billion into stockpiling, with another $30 billion aimed at boosting production. So, where does Saga land? Right in the middle. Capital is flowing, policy is aligned, and demand is rising fast. This is more than just a mining story. It's geopolitics meeting opportunity. The Pentagon is actively funding domestic supply chains for these exact minerals, and Saga is building what could be a major titanium district in North America. So, if you want the full breakdown, check it out in the description. Special thanks to Saga Metals for making today's video possible.
But before President Trump ever conducted any level of operation, Democrats introduced the removal of U.S. forces from hostilities with Iran. What changed? What changed from not one war power from anybody to half a dozen? And I guess we're going to do another one next week. Politics. Everything that my colleague just talked about, his hypocritical remarks about we need to do these things, it's all politics. My Democrat colleagues are not paying attention to national security at all. They refuse to acknowledge the imminent threat that Iran has been. When Joe Biden was responding to merchant marine vessels being attacked, it was okay. No war power needed. Went on for about a year. President Trump responds, war power, war power, war power, war power. Every week that they can do it. They tried doing it last week as well. That's the hypocrisy.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. Around the time Biden launched strikes against the Houthis, even the Associated Press reported, quote, Democrats are wary of undercutting him as he faces a difficult re-election campaign. That tells you everything about the mindset back then. But now that Trump is in office, the tone has completely flipped. And suddenly, there's this push to appear deeply concerned. Just to put into perspective how absurd things have gotten, when the Trump administration increased military pressure on Venezuela through a naval blockade, Democrats tried to pass a war powers resolution to stop it, despite a long history of presidents moving military assets without direct congressional approval. Mast closed things out with one final line, and it left the entire Democratic side speechless.
My colleague brought up some of our service members that were killed. Take that very seriously. Seen it far too many times. That beautiful flag behind the speaker draped across caskets. Take it seriously every time. I personally believe that any time that a service member is killed, they should be lying in state, lying in honor here beneath the dome of the U.S. Capitol. I think they earn it more than anybody killed in action in defense of this country. That's my own personal belief on that. I would ask my colleague, do you know the folks? Do you know the folks that were killed that you mentioned? Do you know their names? You brought up a number. Is that just politics? I know I'm supposed to address the chair, but I'm happy to yield a little time to my colleague. Do you know the members of the military that were killed? Sitting there silent, just using it for politics. My brothers and sisters in arms are not politics.
Mast is one of the few members of Congress who's actually seen the realities of war up close. And in that moment, he had Jeffries completely cornered. The silence that followed sent more than any response could have. But that's modern-day Democrats in a nutshell. Instead of offering a clear counter or alternative, their approach is just opposing Trump, no matter what he does. And Mast managed to expose it in real time, without needing to overcomplicate things. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, keep thinking.